Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to just kind of go through what I do when I meal plan on a weekly basis. So some of these resources you guys might not have, but you do have access to a lot of other resources too. So my go-to is my Fixate cookbook. If you want to get this cookbook, you can get it for, I think it's about $25 through teambeachbody.com. You can get it through your upline. It's an amazing cookbook. I love it because it takes out the containers, makes that part super easy, and I love all the recipes. But mostly what I'm getting from this book is dinners. So that's actually where I start when I'm doing my meal plan. Since you are just starting on the 21-day fix, the best thing for you to do is to grab your fitness guide and start to go through. So this will be before you grab your recipe resources, but you're going to grab your nutrition guide and make sure that you have read the entire thing from front to back, because you want to know what category you fall into before you start planning, and you want to know what foods it is that you like. My recommendation is that you read through, and then when you get to the food list, you pick out the foods that you will eat and make them on a separate list. So you already have your list of go-to foods. Now, the next thing I do is I pull out I do mine on an Excel spreadsheet because it calculates the containers for me. It's much easier. I provided that in the file section of the group, so you have access to that. If you're having trouble with that, let me know. I also provided just a blank meal plan. Some people are just paper and pencil people, and that is fine too. So I'm going to do a screen share here and pull up my meal plan and kind of show you how I do this. Okay, so here is my meal plan. At the top, the formulas are already in there for you. And so you don't have to, figure this out. And this looks really complicated, but it's really, really not. So I'm in this is meal plan A, and this is the meal plan that I provided for you guys in the group. So the first thing that I do is I take a look at my schedule and when I'm going to be able to drink Shakeology. Most days I'm doing it in the morning. We have busy mornings, as do most of you. And so I fill that in because Shakeology is always going to be on my day. And I typically make my shake the same every single day. You don't have to do that, but it just becomes a habit. And so I do put in my Shakeology recipes all through there, through the week. So that's the first thing I do is Shakeology. The second thing I do is figure out what I'm having for dinner. So this becomes a discussion with my husband. He typically is like, I don't care, just cook something. So I go to my resources, which are some websites that I will use, but mostly I'm using my nutrition guides from Beachbody that I already have. Now, here's a tip for you. If you have Beachbody on demand, every single program that is available to you on demand has a PDF format of their nutrition guide. So you can go to that nutrition guide and find recipes in there. The 21-day fix and anything. So the ones that if you have purchased in the past, like 22-minute hardcore, 21-day fix, 21-day fix extreme, size, country heat, they all do the container equivalents, but some of the older programs don't. So it will be something that you have to kind of figure out on your own. But let me tell you this, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you go over on half of a serving of a protein or a vegetable, it's okay. If you have a little extra healthy fat, some extra oils, it's okay. But you just want to kind of be cognizant of those containers. You don't want to have 2 or 3 extra servings of yellows, the carbohydrates. You don't want to have 2 or 3 extra servings of fruit. So don't drive yourself crazy. And I'm telling you this from experience. When I first started, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm at 3.5 vegetables. Now what am I going to do? I have to change it around. So if you see that my meal plan kind of does that, it's okay. You can cut back in certain areas if you do have an extra abundance of vegetables or something, but the veggies are fine. It's really the fruits and the carbs that you want to watch and the fats. So the proteins and the vegetables, you can't really do too many of those. Okay, so the next thing that I do is I find my dinners, right? I go to these resources, and I did check out, there are some dinners in this new Core de Force book. So I did put them on there because they looked interesting to me. I will be honest with you, I don't love to cook. And so if something has a lot of ingredients, it does kind of stress me out. But what I've learned is a lot of these ingredients, when you see a big ingredient list, a lot of it is just herbs and like garlic and things to flavor your food more with clean foods. So you'll see onions a lot, you'll see garlic a lot, and that's okay because that's going to flavor your food and it's going to taste good. So I picked the spaghetti squash, which I actually make very consistently. We do turkey with meat sauce. Probably pretty much once a week. So, and we do it with spaghetti squash, we do it with zucchini noodles, and we do it with gluten-free pasta. So it's just a matter of how I'm going to count my containers. So what I do is I pick out 6 dinners, and I create those dinners and I add those to my list. Then I make sure that when I'm cooking that enough of those dinners have leftovers. So I fill in all of those dinners on the bottom of my meal plan, and the leftovers go for lunch the next day. Again, I am not someone that loves to cook, and I can eat food over and over again. And so it's just perfect. And so then I don't even have to think about packing my lunch the next day. So that's pretty much what I did with all of these, with your meal plan here, because this is how I do it. And I think it's easier this way. I will tell you that we rotate through the same meals over and over again. We find about, 15 or so that we like, and then we just kind of rotate them through. I tried to be pretty efficient too with things that you're buying. So if you're going to do chicken and you're going to buy a bag of chicken breasts, find a couple recipes for chicken breasts that week. Where do we find the recipes? That might be something that you guys are really struggling with, especially if this meal plan is your only meal plan that you have and you don't have the Fixed 8 cookbook. That's okay. You can go to Beachbody On Demand and check those out. You can also check out, and I will post in the comments of this call on the page some links, but thegraciouspantry.com is a great resource. MelanieMitro.com. Melanie is on our team, and she has a phenomenal blog, and I was actually just looking at it the other day. She just updated it. It's a phenomenal clean eating resource. So start there. You don't have to have a ton of resources. You can really just get recipes from simple places. The other thing is they don't have to be extravagant recipes. I did put, if you are someone that doesn't know how to cook, it's okay. Don't be embarrassed. Don't say, I don't even know how to make baked chicken. It's okay. I was there too. I didn't either a few years ago. So I put the recipe there. I mean, you literally can buy broccoli frozen, heat it up, buy chicken, bake it for the week, and use it 2 or 3 times, and you have broccoli and chicken as your meal. Again, it's not going to be totally spiced up, but that's typically what we eat. We'll eat that and a baked potato or a baked sweet potato. And baking sweet potatoes and potatoes are easy. They also, you buy them now, you can just microwave them. So you just want to make sure that you're getting all of your containers in appropriately. So finding the dinner recipes, I think, is the hardest in deciding on dinner. Now that you have dinner, you now have your lunch. The last step that I take through when I'm going through my meal plan is I take a look at, okay, where am I with my containers, with my breakfast, with my lunch, and with my dinner? And that's how I determine what I can have for my snacks. Okay. So for me, I am finding that I need to get my fruit, I need to get extra protein, and I need to get vegetables. And that's more than likely what you're going to find too, because your proteins and your vegetables are the highest numbers. So proteins and vegetables are probably going to be what your snacks are. You may have a fruit in there. You may have a blue, which is a healthy fat. I love hummus, and I love hummus and veggies. And so a lot of times I use my blue for that. But I'm not a big cheese person. So if you are a cheese person, your blues are cheese. So, or if you're an avocado person, that is where your blue is going to come in. So just be mindful of that when you are making your snacks. I put hard boiled eggs on there. That to me is the easiest snack, especially if you are a working person and you don't have time to really eat a snack in the morning. That's how I was. I was a therapist and I didn't have time. I would literally like shove these hard boiled eggs in my mouth and run to the bathroom because I just needed to fuel, get the container in. And Vanessa gets it. And I know Andrew is going to get it if he listens to this. We don't have time to eat. We're not at a desk. And so, but I needed that food because I was hungry. I mean, come 10 o'clock, because I'm working out in the morning, I've had my breakfast, and come 10 o'clock, I am stinking hungry because your metabolism is burning stuff off. And so you guys are going to find that when you're doing your workouts, you're going to be hungry. And that's why you need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. So I do apples and cinnamon with the Greek yogurt is delicious. Plain, you just add cinnamon and it sweetens it right up. If you add it as a sour cream substitute to potatoes, it tastes like sour cream. I don't know. It's kind of magical, but it gives you that, the red protein as well. So it's a good addition to the protein using the Greek yogurt if you can find that in there with your healthy snacks. But you've already gone through your book and you've listed out everything that you like. So after you've done your dinners, after you've filled in your lunches and you need your snacks, and of course you filled in your Shakeology, you're looking at those lists. Okay, it looks like I need another green. What on the list do I like as green? And you're going to check that off, and that is what you're going to use. I don't like to cook, so most of my greens and my snacks are going to be raw veggies. You know, I love carrots. I love cucumbers. I really like salads. I throw my salads together at the beginning of the week. So that's how I make my snack list. My snack ends up, like I said, it ends up being the last thing that I put on there based on where my containers are. So when you start to do this, it's going to feel like a lot. It's going to feel like overwhelming and I can't get my containers right. It takes time. So recognize that you are going to sit down for an hour and you are going to have to figure out what it is that you want to cook and what you want to eat that night. But it's going to save you so much time through the week. So that hour that you sat down to meal plan is going to save you hours, literally hours through the week. And it's going to save you from messing up on your diet, because when you get hangry, as we like to say, when your blood sugar drops, you're going to reach for anything. And if you don't have a family that maybe is super supportive or doesn't want to get rid of some of the things that you struggle with, that's what you're going to grab. You're going to grab the junk. You're going to grab the stuff that you're not supposed to. You're going to grab the extra carbs. You're going to grab whatever it is that you crave. Believe me, I still do it. I get it. I can't keep the stuff in the house and I have to plan. So I know every time what I'm going to be eating. So the last thing that I do is once I have my meal plan created, I create my grocery list. So before I create my grocery list, I go over into my kitchen and I take a look at the stuff that I already have. And I decide what I need and what I don't. So this is probably something that you could do before you make your meal plan. But since we are consistently eating a lot of the same things, and so is my son, I kind of have an idea. So I take a look at my refrigerator and my pantry and look at the things that I already have. And then I start to make my list. I created that grocery list for you guys. I mean, literally, it can't get any simpler. If you are not an A, which I created for A and Amber created for C, if you are a B and you need a little bit extra, or you're a D and a little bit extra, let me know if you need help. But literally, I created the meal plan, the recipes, and the grocery list. Like, you literally can just print the grocery list and go buy everything from that list, and you will have everything you need for the week in there, unless you already have some of that stuff in your kitchen. So I make my grocery list and I only buy the things that I've planned for. That is key, you guys. Okay. So, just how I did on there, on the list I provided you, that's how I create my grocery list. I organize it by where it is in the store. So again, that is going to make your grocery shopping experience more efficient because you are knowing exactly where everything is, and you can just kind of shop the perimeter, because that's where most of that stuff is going to be, is in the perimeter of the store. The inside of the store is where all the processed artificial junk is. The perimeter is going to be your fresh fruits and vegetables, your frozen stuff, and your dairy. There will be some canned stuff in there, and then some seasonings and some extras that you'll need to get in the middle aisles. But the aisles are where all the chips, the candies, the crackers, like all that processed stuff is. So if you can remember this rule of thumb, it's fresh first, next it's frozen, and last it's canned. That's kind of like the pyramid of thinking of clean eating. If you can think about how you want to eat your food, that's where you want to start. You want to try to do the freshest first, because our goal is to eat food in the most natural state as possible. So you make your grocery list based on your meal plan. You take everything to store. You get everything only on your list. And I'm telling you, this is going to save you money, because how many times do we go to the grocery store like, oh, wait, maybe I need those chips that are $5 or $6, or maybe I need that candy bar at the end of the aisle because I'm really hungry right now. Don't shop when you're hungry. We all know that, but I'll just remind you. I need that bottle of soda. I need this, I need that. So just stay away from it. And you'll find your grocery bills actually going down as you efficiently plan your meals. The next thing that I do is I kind of take a look at where I am and what I can prepare ahead of time for the week. So now I do a lot of my stuff. I do my meal planning a lot on Saturdays and grocery shopping on Sundays or Mondays. A lot of times I've been doing my shopping Monday, but here's the thing. It doesn't have to be that day for you. Whatever day works best for you, do that day, but get in the habit of doing it, and then make sure you have some extra time carved out for when you are going to do your prep. So prep is another key to being successful into saving a lot of time. Okay. So what am I going to prep for the week? So based on this meal plan, I'm just going to take a look, and I don't typically cut up my apples early because then they get brown. I hard boil all my eggs that I'm going to use for the week. I will slice any fruits and vegetables that I can. So my strawberries will get sliced, my peppers will get sliced, and I will section them out into serving sizes per the green container if they're a vegetable, per the purple container if it's a fruit. And I will serving size them out into little baggies. So I literally can grab them and go. I will brown any turkey that can be browned ahead of time. I will serving size out the hummus, the sunflower seeds, make the salads ahead of time. So you can literally serving out your spinach, slice your tomato, slice your onion, and get everything. I do not put my dressing on it at the time. I just serving it out so that it's ready. Making sure everything's defrosted for the week. So like the crock pot chicken, you just want to make sure you have your chicken defrosted. Let's see what else. You can bake your potatoes ahead of time if you'd like. They stay for a while. So you can do your baked potato, you can do your baked sweet potato ahead of time, your rice ahead of time. And I think for this, I think that's it for this particular meal plan. So baking chicken ahead of time, browning your turkey, slicing your veggies, slicing your fruits, and then serving out your hummus and your vegetables and your fruits per size, and putting them in baggies, and then putting them in there and ready to go in the fridge. And then that's it. I post this, I print this out, and I have it on my fridge, and I track on my fridge how much I use a marker, making sure that I'm getting everything in. But you don't even need to track with something else if you have your meal plan with you or you follow your meal plan, because you've already figured that out. So you don't necessarily need to track. The only reason you would need to track is if you don't follow your meal plan. Your meal plan is set in stone for you. And then I also planned a treat meal for Saturday night. That can be a different night for you. It can be lunch if you go out to lunch with coworkers or whatever. It can be Sunday afternoon, whatever it is that when you want to have your treat meal. So the other thing I did with that is I did include a yellow, because you always want to include a yellow when you're having a treat, and that's going to take place of one of your carbs. And then I put a protein and a veggie, because you definitely want to still be eating, healthy for that. And if you're having ice cream with your dinner, then your dinner needs to be healthy, right? You need to make good choices. So if you are having ice cream as dessert, you don't want to necessarily do a burger and fries, you're having the ice cream. So that's how I think about it. If you wanted to kind of put both of your yellows in the treat meal and really go big on the treat meal, that's up to you. But I promise you that once you start eating clean, you're not going to desire those treats as much because your body's going to react in a negative way and you're not going to feel good. So you'll want to limit those treat meals because honestly, it's just how you'll feel. So that's pretty much it. That's all I do. I'm intentional. So I do take the time to sit down and think about it, map it out. It doesn't always go perfect as planned, but for the most part, I have shopped and I am ready to go. So we will have days where there are parties that happen, there are holidays that happen. For me, this week, nothing was happening. So I didn't plan for that. So I do recommend when you sit down and do your meal plans that you do plan for those kinds of things and you're planning ahead of time. So if you know you're going to a party, this is what you're going to have before, this is what you're going to have after, and your treats are going to be in between if that's what you decide to do for that party. But you're going to be mindful of those choices definitely before and after. So for instance, if I know that I'm going to a get together and there's going to be some cocktails there, I'm going to be spot on with my eating. I'm not going to eat bad and drink cocktails. So that makes sense. I'm going to try to do one or the other. I'm not going to do both because I'm trying to balance that and remain in moderation. I will be sharing with you guys I'm going to be cooking for Thanksgiving with my in-laws. It's going to be a small meal, but I will be sharing with you guys what I'm going to be doing for Thanksgiving. And my Thanksgiving will be clean and it'll be gluten-free because I'm gluten-free. So just because it's a holiday doesn't mean you can't still eat clean and everything tastes good, right? You just have to lay back on the pies and the sweets and the brown sugar and the sweet potato casserole. But you could still make a delicious sweet potato casserole without all of that stuff, sugar in it. So that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions for me, Miss Vanessa? Hold on, I think you're muted. Are you muted? I don't know. I can't hear you. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I don't really have any questions.
Okay. Do you do something similar with your meal plans? Is that how you do it?
Yeah, pretty much, because I find it's easiest like you do to start with dinner and then kind of fill in around that.
What do you think is your biggest struggle with meal planning?
Well, for me, sometimes I really need a good format like you have because I meal plan it in my head, to make my list, but I don't always put the whole calendar down, and that causes me to kind of veer away sometimes.
Yeah, and for sure. And I've done that too. You definitely want to be intentional. If you can be intentional about it, and at the end of it all, which I have found in my experience is that I'm always saving money when I'm like more intentional about it, because when I'm not saving money and time, because one, I'm like scrambling for dinner ideas and then we're going to the grocery store like 4 times a week. And then every time that extra trip to the grocery store happens, it's like, oh, I buy something extra that I didn't need because I didn't plan it so well on my list. So, well, I hope this was helpful for you. I have it recorded, so I'm going to share with the group. If you don't have any other questions, I'll let you go.
All right. Thank you.
All right, girl. Thank you so much for getting on. I appreciate it.
All right. See you soon.
Have a good one. You too.